Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Greetings, Algo artisans. Welcome to the weekly forecast from Algo Factory. We're going to take a look today at Bitcoin, Solana, EURUSD, GBPUSD, USDJPY, SP500 Futures, Dow Jones Futures, NASDAQ Futures, gold, and silver. Real quick though, what you see on the screen is interesting. This is Bitcoin, and this is some interesting price action that looks to me a lot like market making, and it was right at that support. Price bounced at 91,200. We're going to talk about that coming up in the show, but I know that was in the thumbnail. Probably wanted to know what that was. We're going to get into that shortly. Let's take a look at the data coming out this week. And you're going to notice that the chart forecasts this week often will stop short on Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's because we have huge data coming out Tuesday and Wednesday. It's the PPI, the CPI. These are inflation metrics. These metrics are probably the most important metric when the FOMC decides what their interest rate is going to be. So this is really going to affect all markets. And here it is, core PPI, 8:30 AM EST on the 14th. British pound has their CPI coming out right at the European Open. And then you have CPI the next day at 8:30 AM EST. And these could move markets, especially if the data is way different to the estimate. And then we have employment data coming out on the Aussie dollar, 7:30 PM EST. And then the European Open GDP for the GBP on Wednesday, really Thursday morning open. Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m. we have core retail sales, and unemployment claims, which unemployment claims is usually on Thursday at this time. We're going to get a lot of data at the same time, so that could be a bit unpredictable. And again, that's USD information, could push all the markets around. Usually these other GBP or AUD only push around those specific currency markets. USD can push around a lot of markets. And then you have some more GBP data coming out at the European Open. So almost every night this week, nighttime in the US, morning in London, you're going to see some data coming out for the GBP. Friday being a very short day. Okay, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. You can see last week's prediction right here, and it did not break out. We talked about that. I didn't take the long. I don't long into resistances, but you can see that there is a consolidation here between 91,000 and about 102,000, and Bitcoin rejected at that 102. I actually did make some money on some scalps on the way down here, and right now it does appear that it is bouncing, and this is where that price action comes in from that other chart that I was showing you at the very beginning of this show. So I'm going to go to the 30-minute chart, and we're going to take a look at some clues at what this price action might be telling us. So Bitcoin made its move down, bounced right here at 91,000. Now this kind of pattern where you get a hard move and then a continuous sort of waterfall down where price does not make any moves back up can be rather bearish. It could also mean a couple of other things, but it could just mean that the market is selling off hard and a lot of people are scared. Now this type of move right here is what we looked at the very beginning of the show. And to me, having seen market making happen, this is what that looks like right there. Market making. That looks like somebody forcing price up, never even pulls back. If you look at this move down right here, you can see that even in this severe of a move down, you get price action still doing some pullbacks, coming back up for air, making its way down, little pullbacks here and there. It's a little hard, but it still has some natural move. That's the ebb and flow of markets, and that is what you would expect to see. However, this right here is very odd looking. Now, it's possible that this could be natural. I think it's not very possible. Every single time price thought about going down, it was crushed right back up. This whole move up, and this lasted from 5:30 p.m. on Thursday through Friday at around the same time. So that's a brutal, brutal push up, and that tells me a couple of possible things. There's a little more to look at here, though. You see price did try to make its way back down, and it had a real couple of strong wicks downwards, but both of those wicks were caught and pushed right back up. You can tell that that push right back up was very strong because those wicks are very deep right there and right here. So the fact that those wicks pushed all the way back up so hard tells me that there are market participants who do not want to see price go down. Now, it could be natural. It could be as simple as people are just buying really hard. It could be a lot of things, but that does look to me like there's some chicanery going on. Now, price did finally stabilize right here over the weekend because weekends tend to be slow anyway, and we're starting to see a Sunday break to the upside. This is on the 30-minute chart. What do I think is going to happen next? Well, we look at the daily here. For one thing, I think price is just going to mostly stabilize, and like most predictions that we look at this week, I don't really want to look too far past Tuesday or Wednesday. So what's it going to do in the next day or so, 2 days? I don't mind looking looking at that. But when that PPI comes out, that might be giving us hints as to the CPI. And either way, those metrics could really foul everything up. Kind of like 3 weeks ago when Powell said something very hawkish and it crushed markets down a little unexpectedly. Whenever I see data like that coming out, I simply don't take swing trades. I might scalp it. I might take advantage of some small moves, but until that data comes out, I usually am out of the trades. I generally don't trade Mondays anyway, and then Tuesday is when that data comes out. Might be able to ride some of that wave on Tuesday, but then again, Wednesday is probably when I'll start taking a look at some trades after that. And again, that's nice and early, 8:30 AM EST. There should be plenty to do Wednesday and forward. So until then, I'm not really concerned about what happens. It does seem that the market is also taking a break, going to hang back. Like I said, maybe some scalps are available. Price might just kind of stay in this lower part of the consolidation. If it doesn't, I think it might head up and grab some liquidity up here. But I think until we actually see those data come out the next couple of days, we're going to see price just go sideways within a range between 92, 93,000 and maybe top out at about 100,000. But a lot of things can happen. If there is low volume, price can be pushed around, but I just don't think people want to take any kind of risks until that data's out. And I think Solana is going to look the same. Yeah, see, I've got Solana kind of going sideways a little bit here. Not really a whole lot going on. It is building a range, and that range is currently between 185 and about 192. So I do think Solana will probably maintain that. It might go a little beyond that, a little bit higher. I don't think it's going to go much below 182 in the next few days. Now, EURUSD, this was a really great prediction. My predictions last week were awesome. Forex is my preferred market for trading, so it is good that these are accurate. I'm going to get rid of the 2-3 week ago look here, these blue predictions. We're going to hold on to last week's look because it was pretty darn accurate. I called the move up high, called the move down low, more or less hit right on target. 272 here is one of the targets. The 618 is in the next. And I do believe price will make its way down to that 618 target, which is basically right at a fib level there for a couple of different fibs that we took, right? So that's looking pretty good. And again, I think it'll be slow and sideways until it goes down, or it'll just go down. Always a chance it goes up to grab some liquidity, but I don't think those moves up will last. And British pound US dollar is going to look the same. So let's look at the cable. Here it is. This is even a trade that I mapped out for the private Algo Factory group, and that trade is currently doing really well. It's at least at a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio at the moment, and the entire trade's a 2.89 to 1, meaning that if I put $1,000 on right now, I probably would be about $2,000 ahead, and if the trade went to target, I would be almost $3,000 ahead. So here's the prior week's prediction. Again, pretty accurate, stayed in that range until it went down. Most of the predictions called for a move down. Get rid of that. Last week's prediction, again, really accurate, just like the EURUSD. Popped up hard, grabbed liquidity a little sooner than I thought it would, and then made its way down just like this. And I think we're going to see, just like with the euro, a slide down, maybe with some pushes up for liquidity grabs. Again, Wednesday and Tuesday might cause some pretty wild price action. In the end, I do think this will resume its way down. I don't mind talking about where I think it'll go towards the end of the week. But again, if anything is extraordinarily out of whack with the CPI and the PPI, all this could go right out the window. So I'm not going to be trading until those happen. So these predictions really don't matter quite so much until afterwards, and we'll move on from there. USDJPY is staying pretty calm. It did create a bit of a higher range than I thought it would. So the red kind of prediction is what I thought it would do last week, but it just held up a little bit higher. The high time frame on the USDJPY's bullishness is bullish, and you can see it is holding price up. Let's get rid of some of these older predictions here. We'll leave last week's up, and then this week's, I think we're going to see a tight range, at least until Tuesday. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, we might see a break downwards most likely, but if there is a breakdown, I do think it might still get caught down here and eventually go upwards. Price really did move up quite a ways. I think it still needs to catch its breath, maybe grab liquidity down at this area here around 155.99 before it will head up again. And I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm not trading anything until after Wednesday morning unless I'm scalping after Tuesday's news. So a lot of these predictions don't quite matter as much until afterwards, and I may redraw these partway through the week if that data really changes the landscape. Let's take a look at the SP500 Futures. Again, not much of a prediction. I don't really want to consider what's going to happen until after Tuesday and Wednesday when that data comes out. That's why I have these arrows kind of just going off into nowhere, because we don't know what that data is going to be. I think the broader move right now is a short-term move down, but I do eventually think that it's going to catch, and at 57.40 is a great place for it to catch. Now, it might happen sooner after or never than what I've drawn here. And again, anything that happens after Tuesday and Wednesday is all bets off because of that data coming out, and I won't be trading any of this until then. Here we are with the Dow. Again, I think there's going to be moved down. There is some support for the Dow sitting at about 41,780. Price could bounce up or get pushed down again. Got some support around 41,785. Price could go up or down at that point. Again, a lot of that's going to have to do with what happens with PPI, CPI, so I'm not going to trade or be too concerned about it until after Tuesday or Thursday. And I might even redraw this whole thing, but this is kind of what it looks like right now, right? So I wouldn't put too much stock in these for the moment. We'll see what happens after that. You can see the prior prediction, rather accurate though. There it is right there. Okay, NASDAQ Futures, again, a little bit of a bearish tint, but any of these three, the SP500, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the plunge protection team could come in and catch it, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of action this week. Not until probably after the 20th. We'll see what happens there, but again, this is what I think might happen and could totally be thrown off by Tuesday and Wednesday's data. Not going to worry about it for the moment. Might have to redraw it later. Just a brief look. Gold long and strong. Prior week's predictions looking great, very accurate, and I think gold's just going to continue to be bullish in the near term and probably the long term. Again, we do see some pretty jagged price action, people just buying gold up. I think what's happened is, if you look back through here, we've seen a consolidation going back to October without a lot of things happening. Of course, we did see some strong moves around the election, but overall things have gotten quiet, especially going back to November. So I do think eventually that breakout's going to happen, probably to the upside. Again, until Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm not that concerned about these. I'm not going to trade till then, and we'll see what happens with the data that comes out. Silver looking the same, just a general move up, maybe some kind of pops up and down. We do have a little bit of resistance that price might come to and get knocked down, especially around $32, if it even makes it that far this week. But I don't expect it to do that. I think things will be quiet, especially until Tuesday or Wednesday. So, not much of an update. Again, it has to do with the data that's coming out this week. One thing to know about trading is when not to trade. And when you have data like this that is a bit unpredictable, trying to trade into that is a dangerous thing, unless you know somebody or unless you have coded something that is absolutely a beast and knows how to trade that level of volatility with very low latency. There are not very many people who can do that without spending millions and millions of dollars on code and fiber. There's movies about that. I am not that person, and I doubt any of us watching this is that person. So my philosophy is I don't trade when that kind of data comes out. I wait for it to come out, wait for the market to sort of digest it a little bit, and then I try to trade after that. So not much of an update now. Keep your eyes out for Tuesday, Wednesday. Once Wednesday happens, that market open might be great to trade, and it should be a pretty good week to trade after that. I will be back for the live show on Tuesday morning, 8:30 AM EST. Come on over to our YouTube, watch us live, bring your questions, and if you want to know how to trade and when not to trade, come on over to algofactory.tech. We teach people how to do this. Now, if you're already a trader, you're our target client group. We want you to come on in and fix your trading, because if your trading is already successful and profitable, then you don't need me. You're probably not watching this. However, if you would like to be profitable, maybe because you're not, come talk to us at algofactory.tech. I have fixed a few professional traders' problems. I've also taught a lot of new people how to do all of this. Come on over to algofactory.tech. Learn how to trade like a hedge fund pro, and we will see you Tuesday morning. Thanks for watching.